Hello everyone, my name is MrNJersey and welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to be taking a look at how the brand new RTX 3070 stacks up here in Stormworks and how well it actually managed to run the game. But before we get started, if you are enjoying my videos, don't forget that like and subscribe button and click the little bell icon to be notified of my upcoming content as soon as it gets posted. And while you're watching, let me know your thoughts in the comments below and what else you'd like to see in my future videos. That all said, let's get straight into it and get started with this video. So as many of you already know, for many years now I've been using a GeForce 980 to play Stormworks and the performance has been really good. I've managed to obviously play games with large creations and even record at the same time and do multiple things, and I actually run at 1440p, which is quite demanding on that graphics card. But recently I actually pulled the trigger and decided to upgrade to the brand new GeForce RTX 3070. Now, for me, it was a huge leap in performance, not just only in Stormworks, but in a lot of other things, including actually recording and playing gameplay. Now, I've seen a lot of you guys already ask, well, how is the performance like in Stormworks? Does it make that big of a difference? And well, I guess we'll just have to see on how that is going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to run a few of the benchmarks. I'm going to run them at 1080p and I'm also going to be running them at 1440p, so you guys can see the difference between the performance on depending on what resolution you're going to be running your computer at. The question, of course, is do you need an RTX 3070 to run Stormworks? And before you even watch this video, I'm going to answer that and say no, you don't. I've been playing the game for many years, as I said earlier, with a GeForce 980, and it's been absolutely fine for running the game for 80% of the time I use it. Obviously, the other 20% is when we spawn in super large creations. So let's queue up the benchmarks, let's run them, let's see what happens, and then after that we'll jump in, we'll spawn some vehicles in. I'll spawn in probably the biggest ship that I know of and the most taxing, and you guys will have a look and see how it runs here in Stormworks with the GeForce RTX 3070. So as you could see, we've got some really impressive numbers there with the benchmarks, not only in 1080 but also in 1440p. We got really all positive of 100 there on the FPS, which is really good to see, and really means that you can run nice and smoothly here in Stormworks. Obviously, the major question is the logic / physics. FPS is the one thing that does slow you down. Although, as you guys see, the game does run at that higher performance. It just means that when you actually walk around and you interact with things, that actual physics / logic is the thing that is slowing you down and making you feel like you're running in slow-mo here in Stormworks. Now, let's have a look at my settings for what we use to run the benchmarks at. Now, my settings, I have got pretty much everything on ultra. There are a few things that I have gone disabled and turned down. VSync is the one thing I do disable. I just don't like it. I don't think it adds any extra performance. It actually takes some away, but that's my opinion on that. Obviously, view distance is all the way cranked up. Motion blur is disabled. And the only other thing that kind of is turned off is the shadow resolution. I've got that on medium. It does look okay on high and ultra. I just don't like it. I prefer it on medium, so I usually run it on medium. Performance wise, doesn't make that much of a difference, to be honest. So that is the only thing that we go and turn down, but everything else is pretty much maxed out and on. As you guys can see, if I wanted to get more FPS, we could obviously lower some of those settings down to get better performance, but I don't see a need to at the moment. Obviously, we have the capabilities of running it, and you guys can obviously turn it down to make your performance run a little smoother. If you want to see how the performance was before I upgraded, definitely go and check out my previous video on my PC specs, and that's where I go and show all the settings, how I go and run all of this. And just a quick recap on my settings. Of course, we ran the benchmarks using the brand new RTX 3070. My actual CPU is a Ryzen 3700X, which runs around 4.2 4.3 gigahertz. That is on water, so it stays nice and cool. And you can only see there was probably maximum 21% core utilization on that, which means, as we all know already, this game highly depends on your core frequency. The higher core frequency you can get on your CPU, the better. So if you can run it up at higher gigahertz, like 5 gigahertz, 5.5, you are going to get better performance compared to a multi-core CPU like mine. Once again, I have a multi-core just because of I do rendering, I do streaming, editing, all these different things where I can make use of the multi-core. But my personal recommendation would probably go to 6-core, but we'll get into my recommendations later on. So let's just jump into the game here, and you can see general gameplay. If we turn the benchmarking on, you can see with all these high settings, we're getting 240, 230 FPS, and the game looks fantastic. It just works really nicely and smoothly. If we go and spawn another creation in, so let's go, for example, and grab, let's go and get the dash here, and let's put that in. You know, spawning these creations in, there is no lag, there's no delay. Everything just runs really nice and smoothly. You can see with the vehicle in, we're still getting around 230, 250 FPS. And it looks absolutely incredible with the graphics here. So what we're going to do is let's jump over to the oil rig, and I want to go and spawn in some big ships. I want to see what type of performance we're going to get with them, and how much actual lag we're going to get, like physics / logic lag. So you can see 250 FPS, no problem. Let's jump into the mission editor. Let's go and load some vehicles here. So we got the KMS, which I want to go and test later on, but let's see if we can get something else in. So maybe the escort carrier. Let's see if we can get that in and see what the performance is going to be like with that. And see what the performance is going to be like if we get that spawned in. So 170, 270 FPS. Please remember this is running at 1440p, ultra settings on everything. So it seems like we're still waiting for it to load in. Unfortunately, the devs did get rid of that loading screen annotation that we used to have. So I can't actually tell if it is loading in or not. Oh, there we go. So it's now unloaded in. And you can see, look at the performance. 100, 120 FPS. Nice and lovely and stable. Can't complain really. And this is a creation that used to lag for me on the old graphics card. So I'm happy with that. Let's go and get rid of that, and let's go and spawn in probably one of the hardest things I've ever seen, which is that vehicle I just reviewed, which was the KMS, the German heavy cruiser. That was probably one of the hardest things I've seen, or biggest things, I think, with detail. I think there are bigger ones, but that's the one I've seen. So let's see how this is going to spawn in and what type of performance we're going to get. So we're in slow-mo. It's not that bad, to be honest. It's still kind of playable and doesn't look too bad, to be honest. So yeah, you can, it's still, I think it's still playable. You can still move around. You can see our FPS of our actual screen is still around 100, which is not bad. But in terms of actually the physics lag on this, the physics lag is what is actually making it slow here. But besides that, it's not bad. And I don't think obviously everyone is going to be playing this at 1440p with ultra settings. So I don't think it's obviously a, you know, a best case thing that this is going to happen. This is going to be the 5% where you might be using these creations or you wanting to play with these creations. But even so, the performance is not that bad. It's still playable. So yeah, not bad at all, I don't think. So we're back here at the creator base, and of course now it's time for some conclusions. And the question, of course, is, as I answered earlier on, do you need to have the top of the line graphics card to run Stormworks? No, you don't. You can pretty much run it on any graphics card that has roughly around 4 GB of VRAM and up. Obviously, best case scenario, you probably want a really good one, but it's not needed at all here in Stormworks. You can run on pretty much any graphics card. The main thing here is going to be CPU. The game does use quite a lot of CPU usage, and as I said earlier, higher frequency, single core, that's what it wants. Multi-core doesn't take advantage of everything, and until we see proper optimization from the devs here, that's not really going to change, unfortunately. And I don't think it's really the devs' fault. I think it's more just the optimization thing here in Stormworks, where we need better optimization of the actual game engine itself. It's not really the devs' fault, I don't think. But once again, you guys can let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of this? And hopefully you've enjoyed this little benchmark of the new RTX 3070 here in Stormworks. And let me know in the comments what you thought of this video, and if you want to see more. As I said, I would like to maybe do a setup video for you guys sometime soon. So if you want to see a setup video, just give me a thumbs up on this video, and we'll try and get something going here, and you guys can see what I use to play Stormworks and do all my recordings with. But as always, I hope you have enjoyed this and found it entertaining and informative as always, and we'll see you in the next one.